interprovincial trade. The challenge, obviously, is it comes at a particular cost to one province in one case and a different province in another case. The federal government's got to show leadership, and through this bill, in Part 1 in particular, we are showing that leadership, and that leadership should be welcome.
Time for one more question. The member for Sanish Gulf Islands.
Speaker, words cannot express my deep respect for the honourable member for Beaches East York for his courage. I would like to point out to him that the Canadian Cancer Society believes that Part 1 also needs to be amended and that it could lead to a race to the bottom without exemptions for health and environmental standards as they bring down interprovincial barriers. Again, Greens favour bringing down interprovincial barriers and building one Canada economy, but not with a bulldozer pushing it through Parliament.
Greens? You mean yourself?
The honourable member for.
Gotta 10 years, Francis.
Beaches East York. Apologize.
I'll be brief and just say, as I said in my speech, the devil is in the details of what comparable means. And I agree, we don't want to see a race to the bottom, but we definitely want to see a removal of interprovincial trade barriers that aren't reasonable and hinder our economy.
So yes, I think we have time for one more question. Briefly, though, very briefly, a 30-second question. The honourable member for Prince George, Peace River, Northern Rockies.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask the member, we've worked together on the former ethics committee. Would you agree that closure motion is more of an autocratic type action, or is it democratic? I think I would ask, just clarify with the Liberal government, is it autocratic in nature or democratic with this action?
A quick response, the honourable member for Beaches East York.
I might ask him the same because he voted for it, but I would just say, look, a closure motion on a government motion, we shouldn't spend unlimited debate on a government motion. I think we're fairly and fully debating the government motion. The vote's what matters on the government motion, and you'll see how I vote.
Statements by members, déclaration de député. I would ask that the honourable members use their earpiece because the honourable member for Nunavut will be delivering her statement, I believe, in Inuktitut.
Thank you. When she was born in 1948, her parents named her Paningayatnak.
This translator is really quiet.
By the time she was 12 years old, she was given the name Joan Scotty. Joan has written a book about her life entitled I Will Live for the Both of Us, a history of colonialism, uranium mining, and Inuit resistance. Joan has the strength to protect the land and the caribou. I am inspired by Paningayatnak and hope Inuit and indigenous peoples will show their resistance in what will be challenging days. Our rights are on the verge of being infringed by Bill C-5. Let us be moved by Paningayatnak and do what we can to protect our lands. Thank you.
L'honorable.
The honourable member for Honoré Mercier.
Highlight two examples of our country's cultural wealth. First, we started this month with Festa della Repubblica, the Italian National and Republic Day. I know many of my constituents celebrated on June 2nd, and I want to thank them for their active participation in the community of Rivière-des-Prairies and Anjou. You have been integral to making our society more dynamic. Happy Italian Heritage Month.
Secondly, I would like to highlight Quebec's upcoming national holiday. On June 24th, our community will host many activities to celebrate Quebec culture and the French language for Saint Jean-Baptiste Day. Together, let's be proud of our cultural diversity. Long live Honoré Mercier, long live Quebec, and long live Canada.
Honourable member for Abbotsford South Langley.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to share my condolences for the family and the victims of the fatal shooting in the Fleetwood neighbourhood in BC this weekend. The victim, Shatwinder Sharma, was a father and a businessman from Abbotsford, British Columbia. What's even more appalling is that in less than 24 hours, the Sharma's untimely death Another Surrey home and business, Reflections Banquet Hall, was targeted and the owner, Satish Kumar, was shot. After there was no casualties, I am speaking on this issue because it is suspected that both shootings were linked to extortion. My thoughts and prayers are with the family of the Sharmas. Mr. Speaker, there was 2 shootings in 24 hours and 1 horrific casualty. When will the Liberals show remorse for the appalling soft-on-crime laws, repeal Bill C-5, and adopt the Conservative plan to crack down extortion?
The honourable member for Egmont.
Of my district of Egmont is the willingness of islanders to work together. That collective approach has built vibrant communities, and people know they can rely on one another to succeed. In my home community, the Tignish Fisheries Cooperative is marking a 100-year anniversary. Keep in mind, this incredibly successful venture began during a time of wooden boats, sails, and oars. Today, it is electronics, fiberglass boats, efficient engines, and the best seafood products in the world. The threads that bind these 2 realities together, the hard work and determination of a community filled with talented and dedicated people. Now the Tignish Fisheries Cooperative employs 380 people, and it works wonderfully because thousands of individuals over the years believed in something greater than themselves. They had faith in their home. So from its early days as a fishermen's union to the best seafood processing in the world, this operation has been an incredible success. And I want to congratulate all those there now, thank those who came before.
The honourable member for Perth Wellington.
Mr. Speaker, for half a century, John Holtby lived and breathed parliamentary democracy. He began as first clerk assistant at Queen's Park, served at the table in the BC legislature, and here on Parliament Hill he was chief of staff to the McGraw Committee and served as an advisor to prime ministers, house leaders, senators and whips. To new MPs, he was always there with a kind word of advice, a mischievous idea, and, when needed, a gentle word of caution. In this House, he is recognized as an authority as the editor of Beauchene's Parliamentary Rules and Forms, 6th edition. John was fond of the classic words of the Pilgrim's Progress. And if I could be so bold as to turn around those words, and so he passed over, and all the division bells rang to greet him on the other side. Rest well, dear friend.
The honourable member for Beauport-Limoilou.
Merci, Monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last Saturday, I participated in the launch of the G3E organization summer season with a fishing event for everyone at the Beauport River. For over 30 years, G3E has embodied civic engagement in the protection of aquatic environments in Quebec. This innovative organization has developed an extensive network and impactful programs. With scientific rigor and passion, G3E offers water education and monitoring tools based on the participation of more than 269 adopted rivers to date. These initiatives reach nearly 39,000 students and 35 community groups and have restored more than 409 kilometers of riverbanks and collected 270 tons of waste. G3E's approach combines openness, integrity, innovation and excellence, promoting openness to dialogue, respect for knowledge, and transparency in all actions. Thank you.
Member for Calgary McKnight.
Mr. Speaker, crime and drug use are getting worse in Canada. Law enforcement agencies in Ontario recently seized 1,000 pounds of cocaine and nearly 500,000 lethal doses of fentanyl. In my riding of Calgary McKnight, families can't sleep at night because they worry about their homes being invaded and their cars being stolen. Meanwhile, the Liberal Public Safety Minister doesn't even know his own government policies on firearms or drugs, and he's fine with releasing repeat violent criminals out into our streets. Canadians need real solutions to crime, to addiction, and to the broken Liberal bail system. Our Conservative plan will ensure that repeat violent offenders are kept behind bars and that those battling addiction are given the proper care they need.
The honourable member for Kitchener-Conestoga.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to celebrate a local organization making a powerful impact through sport, the Southern Ontario Cricket Association, SOCA. Founded by Parveen Sharma and now led by Giri Banaravuri, SOCA began in 2019 with just 12 teams. Today, it's Canada's second largest cricket league, expanding to 78 teams. SOCA's heart lies in youth development. Their Little Champs Junior Club empowers children with the skills, the confidence, and the values of teamwork and leadership. Their rapid growth in women's cricket and plans for a winter indoor camp show commitment to equity and opportunity in sport. By introducing an over 40 men's league, SOCA is ensuring that cricket remains a game for all generations. Through cricket, SOCA is building more than athletes, they're building stronger, more inclusive communities. So please join me in celebrating Southern Ontario Cricket Association for their dedication and their impact through sport. Thank you.
The honourable member for Calgary-Midnapore.
The Honourable Charles James Mayer passed away on April 24th in Winnipeg. First elected to the House of Commons in 1979, he served as Minister of State for Grains and Oilseeds, Minister of Western Economic Diversification, and Minister of Agriculture. He was inducted in the Canadian Agriculture Hall of Fame in 2005. Charlie was also my husband's stepfather, and when I first met him in 2017, I was preparing to moderate the Conservative leadership debate. When I asked for his advice, he said, "You can use my cattle prod if you need to, Stephanie. That'll keep him in line." Charlie was kind, thoughtful, and humble to a fault. He was respected for his fierce intelligence, his humanity, compassion, and decency. He was a great Canadian, but remained until the end, like myself, a proud Westerner. He will be missed by his wife, Anita, children Holly, Cheryl, and Judy, and their families. Thank you. Merci.
The honourable member for Laurentides-Labelle. Joining the ranks of some of the biggest names in gastronomy are Paul Bocuse and Sophie Pic Alain Ducasse. And these are our Quebec chefs who have just been awarded the prestigious stars by the Michelin Guide. On May 15th, 9 Quebec restaurants were honoured. La Tanière, a Rio Quebec institution, made a big splash, earning 2 Michelin stars on its first attempt. RV, Quebec Club Privé, Laurie Raphael, Legende, Jérôme Ferrer Européa, Mastar, Sabayon, and Narval each earn 1 Michelin star. These coveted red plaques are much more than decorations. They are proof that our gastronomy, culinary creativity, and identity are on par with Paris, Tokyo, and New York. Quebec's restaurant industry is an economic flagship, a tourist attraction, and an ambassador for our culture. Thank you.
The honourable member for Mississauga, Erin Mills.
Mr. Speaker, all of us in this House are here to support our constituents. Over the past 10 years, I've witnessed partisanship to the detriment of Canadians. So this summer, I challenge all members in this House, regardless of political affiliation, to stand up for Canadians by supporting small business. Small businesses across Canada continue to work hard and create jobs, whether it's traveling within Canada, whether it is shopping locally, choosing made-in-Canada products, having the power to invest in our economy and strengthen our economies. As Canadians, we've all felt the impact of U.S. tariffs. It's more important than ever now to choose Canadian whenever possible. I'll be doing just that as I head back to my riding this summer, and I encourage everyone to do so. Together, Mr. Speaker, we can ensure that Canadian businesses thrive, communities grow stronger, and our economy remains resilient as ever. Thank you.
The honourable member for Lakeland.
Liberal anti-development decade, Canadians pay the price. Today the G7 starts. Canada used to be powerful, but the Liberals are lucky we still have a seat at the table. Canada's economic growth is now last in the G7. Allies like Germany and Japan begged for Canadian energy, but the Liberals rejected them. $670 billion in natural resource projects died by delay and Liberal attacks. This PM claims elbows up, but they've been elbows down. Canada has the world's highest per capita resource wealth, but the Liberals make Canada more reliant on the U.S. Canada's standard of living falls behind an income gap of over $30,000 per person versus the U.S. The U.S. will still take up to 90% of Canada's energy at big discounts if the Liberals keep their job-killing Canadian oil and gas cap, the anti-development bill C-69, the shipping bill the shipping ban bill C-48, and the federal industrial carbon tax on Canadian businesses. In Canada, anyone from anywhere should be able to work for a powerful paycheck. Conservatives.
The Honourable Member for Brome-Missisquoi. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's with great pleasure that I rise today to speak for the first time in this House. First, I'd like to thank the citizens of Brome-Missisquoi for the trust they've placed in me. I will be a hands-on Member of Parliament, listening to their concerns, and this would not have been possible without the unwavering support of my campaign team, my volunteers, and my wife Sylvie, who has been an invaluable support. I would also like to point out that in Eastman we're currently celebrating International Trail Day by highlighting the Trans-Canada Trail, a true national treasure that connects Canada from coast to coast. Since 2019, tens of thousands of dollars have been invested in our trails in Brome-Missisquoi, and by 2026, we plan to invest $154,000 to improve access and enhance the experience. So I'd like to congratulate the local stakeholders who are working to preserve and improve this essential network, and I reiterate my support for this initiative here and across the country. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Hastings, Lennox and Addington, Cayenne-Dinaga.
Last week, the Auditor General confirmed that without proper oversight, due process, or consideration, this government flagrantly ignored public procurement procedures and gave $64 million taxpayer dollars to unqualified insider consultants. In the Auditor General's own words, the government frequently failed to show, quote, which contracted resources performed the work, what work was completed, and whether the people doing the work had the required experience and qualifications, end quote. The Liberal governments of yesteryear, at the very least, put up a facade of public utility when giving lucrative government contracts to insiders. With GC strategies, that veil completely came off, Mr. Speaker. Unlike this government, the opposition respects the public purse and has a motion ready to go to get that money back. The only question is, will this Liberal government's hubris allow them to admit their mistake, take responsibility, and give it back?
Yeah.
The Honourable Member for West Vancouver, Sunshine Coast, Sea to Sky Country.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to recognize all those that put themselves in harm's way to fight the Dryden Creek wildfire in Squamish and keep the community safe. Despite dangerous conditions, thanks to the skill and determination of Fire Chief Aaron Foote, Squamish Fire Rescue, Whistler Fire Rescue, BC Wildlife Crews, Mayor Armin Herford, and the District of Squamish Emergency Operations Centre, and the Squamish Nation, the fire is now being held and the evacuation alert has been lifted. Beyond the fire lines, the community came together. Businesses offered help, students delivered meals, and neighbors supported one another, so much so that officials paused donations due to overwhelming generosity. Mr. Speaker, this wildfire, the third in Squamish this year, reminds us of the growing risks of climate change and the need to be prepared. We must all follow fire-smart guidelines and sign up for local emergency alerts. To everyone who fought the fire, supported neighbors, and stood together, you showed us what Squamish is truly made of. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Thornhill.
To those who know what's at stake with a nuclear Iran, and to the Iranian people, remember who you are, not the hunted, the lion, not the silenced, but the rising sun. The time has come, fierce in spirit and brilliant in purpose, to reclaim your homeland and fulfill the ancient promise of Cyrus and the legacy of civilization over barbarism. Let this be the hour when the prison doors close, tyranny falls, and freedom takes root. A free Iran, a proud nation restored, and with it, the hope for a more peaceful region led by its most resilient people. Do not let Canada's moral equivocation, a foreign minister speaking out of both sides of her mouth, embolden the regime. A regime that has crushed dissent, policed women's bodies, arrested without cause, executed at scale, erased gay rights, and terrorized a world for more than 40 years. The biggest state sponsor of terror killed 55 Canadians and 30 permanent residents. It has a former Liberal Justice Minister under 24-hour protection and intimidates our own people. So next time the Foreign Minister speaks, I hope she remembers that.
The Honourable Member for Nipissing-Timiskaming.
This morning was held the 26th annual memorial service to recognize the parliamentarians we have lost over the past year. Included was Bob Wood, who represented the riding of Nipissing as a member of the Liberal Party for nearly 16 years, up until 2004. He passed away in North Bay a few months ago at the age of 85, and Anthony Rhoda succeeded him in the riding, now known as Nipissing-Timiskaming. Bob served as Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Veteran Affairs, North Bay being a major Canadian Forces base with a strong NORAD presence. Bob was beloved by the citizens of the riding, and I doubt there are many MPs in this room who can boast of having topped every poll in 3 successive campaigns. While exuberant in his political and social presence, Bob Wood's legacy of kindness was private and personal, as he often offered that kindness when no one was looking. The people of Nipissing-Timiskaming, his colleagues in Parliament, and the citizens of Canada extend our deepest thanks to Bob and our sympathy to his family. Bob?
Questions orales, oral questions. The honourable member for Thornhill.
G7 today, surrounded by allies in the largest oil-producing province in the Federation. But thanks to the Liberal government, the oil and gas products they're demanding are still in the ground, and instead of powering our economy and Canadian paychecks. We've got laws blocking extraction, a cap that halts production, a shipping ban that stops it from leaving, and an industrial carbon tax that makes it all more expensive to build. Will the Liberals repeal our anti-energy laws and approve projects so that we can get jobs for our people and our resources to market?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Speaker, what this government will do is pass the One Canadian Economy Act to get the economy going again.
The Honourable Member for Thornhill.
Here's the problem. As the G7 begins, the world may find out what Canadians have known for years. The Liberal laws still in place make it nearly impossible to get anything built. The Prime Minister's solution is not to fix the problem. Instead, he wants to give hall passes to the very few favoured VIPs to skip the line while everyone else waits. C-69, the emissions cap, the shipping ban, the industrial carbon tax, those are all still on the books. Everyone knows the laws are broken and we need to exempt projects for them. So why not just repeal the laws, period?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Speaker, what my honourable colleagues should know is that the CEOs of the energy companies, the union workers, the rig workers are all supporting the One Canadian Economy Act, so it would be really great if they got on board as well.
The Honourable Member for Calgary East.
Please leave it in the ground, Liberals. Keep blocking resource projects, giving more dollars to dictators. Radical Liberal policies are costing Canadian jobs and keeping our clean, responsible Canadian resources out of the hands of our allies. With the G7 now under the way, will this Prime Minister put aside his radical climate agenda to make sure that Canadian resources get into the hands of our allies?
The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change.
Mr. Speaker, we've been clear, and I will repeat it once again. We are going to keep working to make sure Canada is an energy superpower. To do that, we need to be low risk, low cost, and low carbon. A strong Canadian economy. I hope the Conservatives will be able to help support us.
Bravo. Calgary East.
Canada can't become energy independent until bad Liberal policies are repealed. The Prime Minister even admits that his own policies are what's not letting anything get built in this country. He even wants to give premiers veto over pipelines, ensuring that Americans get Canadian product at a fire sale price. With the world gathering in Alberta today, will the Prime Minister repeal his anti-energy laws so our allies can get more Canadian product? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister of Environment and Climate Change.
Speaker, the answer is clear. If Canada wants to be an energy superpower, we need to do it in a smart way, and that is to make sure it's low risk, low cost, and low carbon. The Conservatives were unable to build anything because they didn't do environmental assessments. They didn't consult with Indigenous peoples. We're not going to follow the way they did things because that didn't get things done. We're going to get things done right.
L'honorable député de Louis.
That's just laughable.
The honourable member for Louis Saint Laurent Akanawak. Mr. Speaker, we're receiving the G7 countries right now, and Canada is in last place when it comes to resource development. For 10 years, this Liberal government has been anti-energy and anti-natural resources. The disastrous Bill 69 gave the federal government the right to veto hydrogen and electricity. We would have never been able to develop Manic, James Bay, or Remain. When will the government repeal C69? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, I share with my colleague, we went through an election campaign together. We went through page 1 of our platform, and it indicated that we were going to pass a bill to have a single Canadian economy to make it easier to get major projects across the finish line. And that has the support of business, the unions, the premiers all across the country. Mr. Speaker, let's move the Canadian economy together. The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent Akanawak. The Liberals have a short memory because they passed 4 anti-energy and anti-resource bills. There's not just C69, there's C48 and the shipping ban, there's the cap on oil and gas production, which is killing jobs, and the industrial carbon tax. Mr. Speaker, more than ever, people need more Canada. When will the minister make this possible? The Honourable Government House Leader. Well, respecting the environment and Indigenous rights and procedures, that's what a responsible government does. But we do know that we need to proceed now to implement major projects, including projects in Quebec and in all provinces and territories. We're going to do that respectfully, but effectively and efficiently. We're going to get our workers to work. We're going to get our economy moving by the end of the year. The Honourable Member for Saint Jean. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister thinks he's Pierre Poilievre. He wants to put a gag order on Bill C5, which would allow him to decide everything on energy projects. He wants to be able to decide on his own by order in council which projects will go ahead in the national interest. He wants to be able to define what the national interest is himself based on his own personal opinion. He wants to force pipelines on Quebec, and he wants to do this without debate or study. Even Pierre Poilievre would never have gone that far. Will the Prime Minister stop imitating him and withdraw the gag order? The Honourable Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, it's not just a dream, it's going to become a reality. One Canadian economy. Not only are we expecting the Bloc to support us, but we have Labour, we have management, we have the provinces, we have Quebec on board. This is a golden opportunity for the Bloc Québécois to build a strong Canada, a united Canada, an ambitious Canada, a prosperous Canada. That's what we're working on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker. We'll always fight for Canada. The Honourable Member for Saint Jean. Mr. Speaker, when the Conservatives want to ram a Liberal bill through Parliament using closure, when Danielle Smith supports the federal Liberals in Ottawa, that proves that C5 is being controlled by the oil companies. Quebecers didn't vote Liberal to have conservative policies forced on them through closure and in the interests of oil companies and Danielle Smith. If Quebecers had wanted Pierre Poilievre, they would have voted for him. Why are the Liberals betraying Quebecers' trust? The Honourable Government House Leader. There were stakeholders from civil society, from business, and the Bloc is exaggerating here just a little bit, Mr. Speaker, because what we've done is brought together unions, business, provincial and territorial governments. We are going to implement green projects, renewable projects, projects that will put people to work and will move the Canadian economy forward. And all before Canada Day, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Repentigny. Mr. Speaker, Bill C-5 gives birth to the Conservative Liberal coalition serving the oil companies. After years saying the Liberals were the devil incarnate, suddenly the Conservatives are eating out of their hands. They're ready to pass Liberal bills. They're even ready to pass Liberal gag orders. They're prepared to do anything as long as it serves the oil patch, but not Quebec. Mr. Speaker, Quebecers didn't vote for this. Why? During the election campaign, did the Liberals hide it from Quebecers that they were going to form a coalition with the Conservatives? Just a minute, please.
What in the loony was that?
Could the honourable member withdraw the word he used, a word that we don't use in the House? So that we can get to the main idea. He said the opposite of the truth. I'd like to thank the member.
Oh, you can't call someone a liar. Okay.
You see, Mr. Speaker, they haven't even read page 1 of our platform. And we spent 35 days on the hustings talking about getting the economy going and making this country one single economy that would be able to do big things, that would advance Quebec, advance Canada, advance green energy, advance all of our workers. The Quebecers did vote for that. The Bloc is wrong about that.
The recent Auditor General's report revealed that GC Strategies, a Liberal insider company, was paid a whopping $64.5 million tax dollars by the Liberal government to do literally nothing. Think about how Canadians struggling to make ends meet feel about having to pay massive taxes just to enrich Liberal insiders. It's like reverse Robin Hood. Will the Liberals support our motion to get Canadians' money back from these scammers, or will they keep robbing Canadians to pay their friends?
The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And let me be absolutely clear, we will never tolerate any misbehavior or misconduct from our suppliers or their subcontractors. We've taken legal actions against GC Strategies. We've referred cases to the RCMP because we will always defend the integrity of our procurement system. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Calgary-Nose Hill.
Not only are the Liberals tolerating this behavior, they're promoting the people who oversaw it. In the normal world, somebody who would have overseen $65 million going to scammers would have been fired. But instead, these ministers have been promoted. And today we found out that these ministers want to give even more money to consultants to manage web pages. Why is it with these Liberals, incompetent politicians get promoted while Canadian taxpayers get stuck with the bill?
The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as I've mentioned time and time again last week, we will always defend the integrity of our procurement system, and we will always hold bad actors to account, which is why, Mr. Speaker, of the company she's mentioned, we've revoked its security clearance. We've terminated all contracts more than a year ago. We've put in place the Office of Supplier Integrity, which has barred GC Strategies from contracting with the government for 7 years. We've taken legal actions against the company. We've referred cases to the RCMP. We will always hold responsible suppliers and their subcontractors who misconduct. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The Honourable Member for Provencher.
Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General confirmed GC Strategies, a two-person company, got $64 million from the Liberals, often without competitive bidding. In nearly half the contracts, there's no proof of even any work being done. In 82% of cases, departments didn't check if taxpayers were overpaying, and in 50% contracts, security clearances were not properly enforced, including departments like Global Affairs and National Defence. A total collapse of basic oversight, but taxpayers are still forced to pay, while Liberal insiders get rich. Will every member in this House vote to get Canadians their money back?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and we will never tolerate misconduct from our suppliers or their subcontractors. We've taken legal actions against GC Strategies. We've referred cases to the RCMP, Mr. Speaker, because we will never tolerate misconduct from our suppliers. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Provencher.
That's right, Mr. Speaker. GC Strategies is under RCMP investigation. The Auditor General exposed millions paid without proof of work, without oversight, and without security rules being followed. And the ministers responsible? They didn't get fired. They got promoted, rewarded by this Prime Minister. Only with Liberals do you fail upwards. Collect promotions for incompetence and leave the taxpayer on the hook. Same scandals, same ministers. Why is Liberal corruption always rewarded while Canadians get the bill?
Good question.
The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague for his question. As I've repeatedly said last week, we will never tolerate any misconduct from our suppliers. That's why we have sued the company. We have referred this to the RCMP. We have cooperated with the Auditor General. We will always defend the integrity of our procurement system in Canada.
Leamington.
Through questioning Liberal ministers last week, we know that they paid out. They had no clue why $64 million was paid to GC Strategies for work not done. The Auditor General found the following. Security requirements were not enforced, contract monitoring policies were ignored, procurement policies were not followed, and deliverables were not confirmed before payment. Liberal ministers responsible for this fraud, they're promoted upwards. Mr. Speaker, why? After cheap talk of this government, saying that's the old government, when will the new government vote in favour of getting Canadians their money back?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On this side of the aisle, we'll always defend the integrity of our procurement system, which is why we've put in place recommendations from previous report of the Auditor General. We've terminated all contracts with GC Strategies more than a year ago. We've revoked their security clearance. We've set up the Office of Supplier Integrity, which has barred GC Strategies from contracting with the government for the next 7 years. We've referred cases to the RCMP, and we've taken legal actions against GC Strategies. Why, Mr. Speaker? Because we will never tolerate bad actors in our supplyment process. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Portneuf-Jacques-Cartier. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Public funds have to be managed very carefully and should serve the interests of our country, not Liberal cronies. In Quebec, there's an expression for an abuse of power and the code of silence used to protect insiders. A friend is a friend. Will the Liberal ministers of the past 10 years ask their buddies at GC Strategies to repay the $64 million paid by law-abiding Canadians? The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I reject the premise of my colleague's question. We will never tolerate abuse by our suppliers. That's why we've taken legal action against GC Strategies and referred this matter to the RCMP, because we will always defend the integrity of our procurement system. The Honourable Member for Portneuf-Jacques-Cartier. Let's talk about integrity. We Conservatives today tabled a motion calling, among other things, for the $64 million that was paid in excess to GC Strategies to be, without any work done, to be paid back to Canadians. Will the Liberal ministers of the past 10 years who approved this payoff to their cronies, will they finally show today some integrity by supporting our motion to force a refund and ban that company, not for 7 years, but for life? The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to remind my colleague that the Office of Supplier Integrity operates at arm's length, and they decided to ban GC Strategies for the next 7 years. But we had already taken action. We will never tolerate any misconduct by our suppliers. We've taken legal action against GC Strategies. We referred the matter to the RCMP, and we cancelled all contracts more than a year ago and revoked their security clearance, because we will always defend the integrity of our procurement system. The Honourable Member for Jonquière. Mr. Speaker, the government is not only preventing debate on C5 in the House, they're also gagging all opposition outside the House in the name of the so-called national interest. They're silencing anyone who questions the construction of dirty oil pipelines across our lakes and rivers, including the St. Lawrence, threatening our drinking water. They're silencing anyone who's concerned about our farmland and our forests. They're silencing the entire population, the National Assembly and the BAP. How is it that for the federal government, building Canada always weakens Quebec? The Honourable Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, on the contrary, we invite our colleagues to join with us in building a strong Canada. Quebec has a major role to play in that. Quebec is a leader on electricity, on the environment, on interprovincial trade. Mr. Speaker, this is a golden opportunity for the Bloc Québécois to vote in favor of Quebec and at the same time build a strong, resilient, and prosperous Canada. The unions are in favor, workers, management, the House should be in favor too. This is how you build a country.
Yeah.
The Honourable Member for Jonquière. Well, one thing's for sure, Mr. Speaker. The national interest of the Liberals is certainly not the interest of our planet or future generations. In less than 3 weeks, we've gone from transportation electrification to drill, baby, drill. The Prime Minister has gone from his Canada strong against Donald Trump to move aside Quebec and make way for some pipelines. All this without debate, without serious study, and without expert witnesses to explain the implications of C5. Clearly, the Prime Minister does not respect our work here. He proves it with his gag order. When will he finally get it that we live in a democracy here? The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change. Mr. Speaker, we agree that the environment needs to be protected, but the economy can be supported at the same time. It would be nice if the Bloc could support us in doing exactly what Quebecers and Canadians have called on us to do. They elected a Liberal government to ensure that, yes, we can be an economic superpower, but at the same time, we can take care of the environment.
Tecumseh Gwillimbury.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberal Housing Minister says he doesn't want house prices to go down. While everyday Canadians are priced out of a home, he says he's focused on protecting people's assets. Well, now we know why. From his Vancouver penthouse, this minister is sitting atop a personal real estate empire worth over $10 million, including luxury properties in Tofino, Squamish, and English Bay. Why is it the only thing getting built under this housing minister is his personal fortune?
The Honourable Member, the Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I'll caution the member on using inaccurate facts. I will be following all the rules, even before they are required, and these are some of the rules that the Conservatives themselves brought in under Prime Minister Harper. We will work with the Office of the Ethics Commissioner to ensure transparency, and I will continue to demonstrate integrity in my role as Minister. My focus is on getting more affordable housing built across Canada.
The Honourable Member for New Tecumseh Gwillimbury.
Liberals are just like Adams. They make up everything. More Canadians than ever are watching the dream of homeownership slip further out of reach. But this housing minister isn't focused on solving the housing crisis because he's profiting from it. The average home in Canada now costs $680,000, $1.2 million in Vancouver. Rents and mortgages doubled, housing starts are down, so why is the minister more interested in protecting his real estate empire than ensuring Canadians can afford a home?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
He's not answering.
Settle down. The Honourable I thought we wanted to finish question period on time. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Housing, indeed all ministers and members of this House, live under some of the most stringent ethical requirements that require disclosure and transparency. As that member knows very well, the Minister of Housing is obviously complying with all of those rules, will continue to do so, and at the same time, he will continue working on providing housing opportunities for Canadians. That's why he's there. That's what he's going to do.
The Honourable Member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
You'll have to excuse us if we don't take the party that's been known for serial ethical lawbreaking at their word when the Minister of Housing, who said that house prices don't need to come down, is sitting in a $2 million penthouse on a multi-million-dollar real estate fortune while he's telling Canadians that they're okay to just stay in their parents' basements. Wow. Canadians want to know why this minister wasn't transparent, didn't answer the question in Committee of the Whole, didn't answer the the question when the member previously asked, and we don't think that he answered it honestly when he gave an answer to the Ethics Commissioner. Why won't this minister come clean and tell Canadians the truth?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the minister quite literally just gave the answer on the floor of this House. That member knows, as do his colleagues, that we live under ethical guidelines that are among the most stringent in the world. They govern all the members of this House. That minister is in full compliance with all of the rules. That member knows better.
The Honourable Member for Dufferin-Caledon.
He's in compliance with his multi-million-dollar real estate empire. That's the only thing he's in compliance with while people are living in tent cities. This minister has said the housing market is working just fine. This from a real estate tycoon. While he has a $2.4 million penthouse in Vancouver, a $5.6 million lakefront property, and a $3 million estate in Tofino. You think housing prices are going to go down? No way. It's not in his financial interest for them to go down. How can anyone believe this minister will do anything for housing when it's in his vested interest to keep his real estate portfolio high and Canadians in tents?
The Honourable Government.
That's how you won't stand up and answer the question.
The minister is literally spending day and night, 7 days a week at creating opportunities in housing for Canadians, while at the same time being in full compliance with the strictest ethical obligations faced by public office holders in the world, Mr. Speaker. You know that. Those members know that. We are in full compliance. That will continue to be the case.
The Honourable Member for Côte-du-Sud, Rivière-du-Loup, Kataskamik-Témiscouata. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Liberal Housing Minister has said that house prices don't need to go down. Not surprising when we know that he's sitting on $10 million in real estate. He has a $3 million home in Tofino, another $5.6 million home in Squamish, and a luxury penthouse in Vancouver. Meanwhile, in Quebec, young people are stuck in their parents' basements. They're not able to buy a home. They're not able to rent a home. Why is the minister from up in his luxury penthouse telling young Quebecers that the price of homes doesn't need to go down? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, the member knows very, very well that not only has this Minister of Housing been working day and night to create housing opportunities for all Canadians, but he also knows that he has totally complied with our ethics regime. It's one of the most strict ethics regimes in the world. He's completely in compliance with the Ethics Commissioner. The Ethics Code covers transparency, and that's what the minister has followed.
The Honourable Member for Labrador.
Mr. Speaker, our new government recently introduced the One Canadian Economy Act, intended to tear down internal barriers to trade, cut red tape, and get nation-building projects off the ground. While it is true that the bill is critical to help grow our economy, Indigenous communities' individual rights must be respected throughout the process. Can the Minister of Northern and Arctic Affairs outline how the Indigenous partners will be consulted and how these communities will benefit from this bill? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Northern and Arctic Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank the member of Labrador for his important question. As a First Nations rights holder as well, I want to acknowledge the concerns raised by Indigenous leaders across this country. Their voices matter. That's why we're investing in real consultation with $40 million to support Indigenous engagement, in addition to establishing an Indigenous Advisory Council. This legislation will be an economic game changer for Indigenous people like never before.
The Honourable Member for Parry Sound, Muskoka.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals' own housing agency's latest numbers on housing starts are out, and they are bad, particularly in cities that received money from their Housing Accelerator Fund. For example, Vancouver, they got $115 million. Starts are down 10%. Kelowna got $31.5 million. Starts are down 33%. On May 13th, the latest housing minister claimed that he wanted to build on the housing successes of the last few years. What success? When will the Liberals learn that bureaucrats don't actually build houses?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the member opposite will know, there are monthly fluctuations to the housing starts across Canada. That's right. And there's really good news in the CMHC report, Mr. Speaker. We are on an annual pace of almost 280,000 housing starts this year, which is almost a record. And we won't stop there, Mr. Speaker. We are focused on doubling housing starts in this country over this next decade, and we will stick to that goal.
The honourable member for Parry Sound, Muskoka.
Well, it doesn't just stop there. Hamilton got 93.5 million. Housing starts there are down 50%. Toronto got 471 million. They're down 58% there. Guelph got $21.4 million, and housing starts there are down over a whopping 78%. Whoa. Yet the Liberal plan is to continue spending on city bureaucracies, and now they want to build a third federal housing bureaucracy. When will this government learn that repeating their same mistakes and expecting a different result is not going to solve what is quickly becoming a housing catastrophe?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There's no doubt that we have challenges with housing across the country on affordability. The good news is that we are seeing near record level housing starts this year. You can cherry pick month-to-month stats. This year, 280,000 starts is the pace that we're on right now, and we need to go farther and faster. That's why we're delivering on development cost charge reductions that will bring down the cost of housing, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Similkameen, South Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Mr. Speaker, the housing crisis is only getting worse, and the Liberals' failing programs are not helping. The Liberals' so-called Housing Accelerator Fund is spending more but building less. The Liberals' own numbers show that Kelowna will receive $31.5 million in taxpayer dollars, even though housing starts there are down 33.6%.
That's not very good.
Will the Liberals abandon their failing housing programs and build homes, not more bureaucracy?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I will just direct the member opposite to talk with the Kelowna Mayor and Council about what they think about the Housing Accelerator program, which mayors, hundreds of mayors and councils across the country have asked their own members of Parliament on the Conservative side to support, because they want this program, they want support to scale the housing that they build in their communities, and we will be there to support them.
The Honourable Member for London Fanshawe.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals' own housing agency continues that $74 million from the Housing Accelerator Fund. Housing starts in London are actually down by a whopping 72%. Oh. Meanwhile, students and young families are still being priced out of the market with little hope of ever owning their own home. The Prime Minister promised to get the government into the business of building homes, not building more bureaucracy. When will the Liberals finally recognize that the red tape is the problem, not the solution, and reverse these policies that are keeping young Canadians in their parents' basement?
Great question. The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, well, I hope that the member opposite is supportive of the work that we're doing here to give first-time home buyers, young Canadians, an opportunity, discounting their purchase price by up to $50,000 in GST relief. Whoa. It's a significant effort, along with the tax cut for 22 million Canadians that makes life more affordable, enables them to access housing, and we will not stop there, Mr. Speaker.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Member for Richmond Hill South.
Only this Liberal government could spend more taxpayer money and deliver less. Their so-called Housing Accelerator Fund gave the City of Toronto $471 million. And what did Canadians get in return? According to this Liberal government's own housing agency, Toronto's housing starts dropped a whopping 58% compared to last year. This is a classic example of Liberal-style failure. They spend taxpayer money, grab a nice photo op, and then walk away while fewer homes are built. Will this housing minister finally admit that this Liberal bureaucracy fails to build homes while the next generation of Canadians fall further behind?
Good job. The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I want to speak strongly in support of the Housing Accelerator program, which has over 200 agreements with communities across Canada. The members opposite can keep criticizing and insulting their city councils and mayors. They are going to deliver on this housing. Month-to-month statistics fluctuate, but overall we're seeing housing starts up this year, which is great, and we're seeing local communities deliver. Thank you.
The honourable member for Ponoka-Didsbury.
This week, leaders of the G7 gather in Kananaskis. Top of mind at this summit is international peace and security. Canadian energy is a key part of this conversation. Our G7 allies, such as Germany and Japan, have spent years asking for ethically sourced Canadian oil and gas. Yet this same Liberal government has stymied our allies for 10 years. When will they get out of the way and approve the energy infrastructure that Canadians and our allies so desperately need?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, at the first Ministers' meeting, the Prime Minister, the Premiers got together and thought the One Canadian Economy Act was a great idea. Managements think it's a great idea. Labour unions think it's a great idea. It would be very helpful if the Conservatives got on board and helped us get this bill passed.
The Honourable Member for Ponoka-Didsbury.
After 10 years of economic vandalism by these Liberals, Albertans want the walk to match the talk. It's been 3 months since the start of the campaign, 4 weeks since the throne speech, weeks since the meeting with the premiers and businesses, and yet the No More Pipelines bill, the tanker ban, the production camp, and the industrial carbon tax all still remain, and not a single oil and gas project has been announced. So when does the talk become the walk, or is this all just more Liberal squawk?
Yeah. Hear, hear. Well said.
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
My honourable colleagues will get an opportunity later this week to put their money where their mouth is and vote for this bill.
The Honourable Member for Sudbury East, Manitoulin Nickelbelt.
After 10 years of Liberals, Canada's pipelines are more clogged than a kitchen sink. Thanks to anti-energy laws like C-69, the No New Pipeline Law, the job-killing production cap, and the industrial carbon tax. Our energy industry is struggling. Investment has fled, and companies won't build under these conditions. Will the Prime Minister finally scrap this anti-energy agenda so we can sell to our allies and bring home bigger Canadian paychecks?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change.
When Canadians elected this Liberal government, what they asked for was for us to be able to build a strong, united country. What I hear from the opposition is division. That's not what Canadians want. What we saw when the premiers and the Prime Minister sat down together was how we're going to build together. I hope that they're going to support our Build Canada Act so that we can actually get the job done.
Let's go.
The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lobinière. 10 years of Liberal lethargy, 10 long years with Canada on the sidelines, even as the entire world has looked to us for our natural resources. A lost decade where the Liberals have turned their backs on our allies and put in place the most anti-development environmental laws of any G7 country. An anti-pipeline law, a cap on oil production, a ban on marine shipping. The G7 is meeting in Canada, in Alberta this week. Will the Prime Minister get rid of these bad bills that are making Canada's poorer and approve projects that will put more money in their pockets? The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change. Mr. Speaker, when the Canadians elected us, when they elected this Liberal government, what they wanted to see was us build together a strong country and a strong economy, and that's exactly what we're doing. So, we are building to be an energy superpower that is low cost, low risk, and low carbon. I would ask the Conservatives, will they support our bill to make sure that we can move forward with these projects?
The Honourable Member for Halifax.
Mr. Speaker, more than ever, Canadians are feeling a deep sense of pride in who we are. We're united by our shared history, rich cultures, and breathtaking landscapes. In my riding of Halifax, we have Citadel Hill National Historic Site, which stands as a powerful symbol of our past. And Nova Scotia has 3 world-renowned gems in Sable Island, Kejimkujik, and Cape Breton Highlands National Parks. Could the Minister tell us what our new government is doing to reinforce our national pride and to encourage Canadians to discover all the incredible places that make Canada so special?
The Honourable Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I would like to thank the member for Halifax for her excellent question. There is no better time to choose Canada, which is why today we unveiled the new Canada Strong Pass, Mr. Speaker. That's right. All summer long, admission is free for national parks, historic sites, with major discounts on camping as well. That's free. And what's more, a kid gets to free access to national museums and gallery, and free or discounted fares on Via Rail. Amazing. We're encouraging people of all ages to explore the places and story that unite us from coast to coast to coast. With the Canada Strong Pass, it's never been easier to get out and discover the best country in the world, Canada.
The Honourable Member for Cloverdale Langley City.
Mr. Speaker, I attended the Public Safety Forum in Surrey this weekend, and I have to say, I felt like we were living in a violent video game. Reflections Banquet Hall shot up. Hub Insurance shot up, Strip Mall shot up, and now in Fleetwood, an honest businessman has been gunned down in his office in broad daylight, possibly tied to extortion. The message from these criminals is clear. Pay up or your family will pay the price. And what's the government doing? Wasting hundreds of millions going after licensed gun owners while gangsters roam free. Will the Liberals commit to protect Canadians from violent extortionists?
That's right.
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, first off, I had the chance to meet with the Mayor of Surrey just recently and talk to her about the concerns in her community, as well as many of the members that represent Surrey that are in the House today. Extortionists must be held to account for their crimes. We will act decisively to strengthen the criminal code and move aggressively to protect victims by making bail laws stricter for violent and organized criminals. Extortion with a firearm carries a maximum sentence of life in prison, Mr. Speaker. We will always be there to keep Canadians safe.
The Honourable Member for Cloverdale Langley City.
Mr. Speaker, extortion is up 357%, and those are the ones we know about. In Surrey, criminals are shooting up businesses and bragging about it online because they know they won't face serious jail time. People are terrified, and these gangsters are running the show. They actually made it. What did the Liberals do? They voted against mandatory minimums for extortion. They made it easier for violent criminals to get back on the street. Will this government support the common-sense Conservative plan to crack down on violent extortionists, or will they keep putting criminals ahead of Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, in case anyone is mistaken in this House, extortion is illegal in Canada. It is punishable by serious offences. Repeated extortion with a firearm is punishable by a mandatory minimum of 7 years imprisonment and a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. The criminal code reflects the seriousness with which we take this crime. We will do what it takes not only to punish criminals on the back end, but to give law enforcement the tools they need to prevent it in the first place. I hope the Conservatives will be willing to work with us to advance the reforms that will help keep communities safe.
The Honourable Member for Brampton West.
Mr. Speaker, Peel Regional Police busted an extortion ring. Unfortunately, of the 18 arrested, almost half were on a form of a judicial release at the time of arrest. Under this Liberal government, extortion cases are up by almost 400%. Bill C-381, introduced by Conservatives, would have given law enforcement the tools they require to go after extortionists. When these Liberals will stand with hardworking families and their safety? Will the Liberals adopt our Conservative plan to crack down on violent extortion?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Speaker. The fact of the matter is, this new Prime Minister, new MPs like me, and this new government take this incredibly seriously. The fact of the matter is we're hiring 1,000 new RCMP personnel, 1,000 new CBSA members to go after the bad guys. And I hope that member and those members on the side of the House will support us in the Strong Borders Act. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Brampton Centre.
Mr. Speaker, after 10 years of this Liberal government, risen by 357%.
and Canadians are living in genuine fear for their lives. One of my constituents recently received a video from a perpetrator threatening to murder their children. People's lives are at stake, and this cannot go any longer. We need to restore mandatory minimum penalties on extortion. Will the Liberal Prime Minister adopt Bill C-381 to crack down on violent extortion?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, as I shared a moment ago, extortion is illegal in this country. Perpetrators should be apprehended and punished. If the member does not believe that extortion is punishable by serious offences, I would point him to the fact that repeated violent extortion with a firearm is punishable by a minimum of 7 years imprisonment, a maximum penalty of life imprisonment, Mr. Speaker. This reflects the seriousness with which this government takes this very serious crime. But it's important we not only punish wrongdoers on the back end, but we invest in law enforcement to give the tools they need to keep communities safe in the first place. I hope that the members opposite will join us as we advance important reforms to protect Canadians.
The Honourable Member for Brampton Centre.
Mr. Speaker, every day law enforcement officers from across Canada work tirelessly to ensure that our communities are kept safe from crime. At the same time, organized criminals are taking advantage of new technologies to evade the police. Can the Minister of Public Safety inform this House how the Strong Borders Act is modernizing the tools law enforcement uses in their fight against organized crime?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to thank the honourable member for Brampton Centre for her question and her hard work. Just this morning, Mr. Speaker, Peel Regional Police dealt a major blow to organized crime, arresting 18 individuals on nearly 100 charges related to auto theft, extortion and shootings. And I want to thank the hardworking men and women of Peel Regional Police for this important work that they have done. Through the Strong Borders Act, we are looking to replicate the success of Peel Police. We will provide law enforcement with the tools they need to take down organized crime and keep our communities safe.
I believe members may want to use their earpieces for this question, which will be in Inuktitut. The Honourable Member for Nunavut.
Mr. Speaker, Mosi is a single mom in Talukchuak. Her monthly income is less than $1,100. The Inuit Child First Initiative helped to feed her children every day. The Liberals canceled the Hamlet food voucher program. Groceries in the north are not affordable. Will the minister reinstate the Hamlet food voucher program so Inuit can afford to eat?
The Honourable Minister for Northern and Arctic Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, it's public knowledge that Nutrition North is undergoing an external review. And we also have an internal review underway. We're committed to building on the positive steps already taken, like the Food Harvesters Program and the Community Kitchen Program, to ensure that northern communities benefit fully from these types of initiatives. Thank you.
And that concludes the question period. Je crois que l'honorable député de Saint...
I think that the honourable member for Saint Jean has a point of order. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. During QP, you asked my colleague from Repentigny to withdraw remarks they thought that were non-parliamentary. These statements referred to events that took place outside of the House. I'm wondering if it's possible to clarify if the extension of what is considered parliamentary remarks can refer to what is happening outside of the chamber.
They were used. Je soulignerai.
I'd like to underscore to the member for Saint Jean that regardless of the reference, the term was said in the chamber, so that is not parliamentary language. Yes, they withdrew it, I believe. I think I heard them withdraw it.
Pardon? Yes, point of order, the honourable member for Winnipeg Centre.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. During question period, members of the Liberal caucus kept providing disinformation about the fact that they're upholding Section 35 rights. It's not true, and I'd like them to apologize.
This is obviously a matter of debate.
It's not a point of order.
We will now, it being 3:06, the House will now proceed to the taking of the deferred recorded division on the motion of Mr. Barrett relating to the business of supply. Call in the members.
This is for GC Strategies, I believe. I believe. It's a vote call. Okay, well, we're going to call it here. I'm going to go and watch a couple of the committees that are coming out, but the next committees that are starting after this vote are quite boring. There's International Trade, Canadian Heritage, the Environment Committee is usually pretty good, and then there's the Status of Women Committee. Those are the 4 committees that are on this afternoon, but all the committees have the same thing on the agenda, just elect a chair, elect a vice chair, go through routine business, and then they're going to adjourn. So, I mean, it was kind of just like what happened this morning. Those, I don't really find most of those committees interesting anyway. The Environment Committee can be interesting sometimes, especially when they were talking about STTC and things like that. But otherwise, yeah, here, 1 minute. I've got someone at the door.
The question is as follows. Mr. Barrett, seconded by Mr. McCauley, moved that given that the Auditor General found that a Rifcan contractor shall I dispense? I didn't think so. That given that the Auditor General found that a Rifcan contracted GC Strategies.
Oh, I want to watch it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be interesting just electing a chair. Sometimes I do watch some of those, like we do stream some of those committees, but...
Back within 100 days of the adoption of this motion, and B, impose a lifetime contracting ban on GC Strategies, Inc., any of its subsidiaries, its founders, Christian Firth and Darren Anthony, and any other entities with which those individuals are affiliated.
The 10-minute period for members voting electronically has started, and the House will now proceed to the vote for members participating in person. All those in favor of the motion will please
this
rise.
should pass.
Shear.
Lifetime ban. Come on.
Mr. Doherty.
Mr.
Doherty. Mr. Schmale.
Mr. Schmale. Get the money back, ban them lifetime.
Brock.
Mr. Brock.
Mr. Bazan.
Mr. Bazan.
Mrs. Block.
Mrs. Block.
Mrs. Thomas.
Mrs. Thomas.
Monsieur Deltel.
Monsieur Deltel.
Monsieur Paulus.
Monsieur Paulus.
Miss Landsman.
Ms. Landsman.
Miss Lewis Holloman Norfolk.
Ms. Lewis Holloman Norfolk.
Mr. Chong.
Mr. Chong.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Mr. Barlow.
Mr. Barlow.
Mr. Seaback.
Mr. Seaback.
Mr. Barrett.
Mr. Barrett.
Mr. Albus.
Mr. Albus.
Mr. Lake.
Mr. Lake.
Monsieur d'Entremont.
Monsieur d'Entremont.
Mr. Lloyd.
Mr. Lloyd.
Mr. Small.
Mr. Small.
Mr. Major.
Mr. Major.
Mr. Zimmer.
Mr. Zimmer.
Mr. Jennis.
Mr. Jennis.
Monsieur Brassard.
Monsieur Brassard.
Monsieur Berthold.
Monsieur Berthold.
Mr. Workington.
Mr. Workington.
Mrs. Cramp Nyman.
Mrs. Cramp Nyman.
Mrs. Roberts.
Mrs. Roberts.
Mr. Morin.
Mr. Morin.
Mr. Ross.
Mr. Ross.
Madame Vien.
Madame Vien.
Monsieur Martel.
Monsieur Martel.
Miss Rempel Gardner.
Miss Rempel Gardner.
Mr. Cooper.
Mr. Cooper.
Mr. Aitchison.
Mr. Aitchison.
Mr. Caputo.
Mr. Caputo.
Mr. Van Popta.
Mr. Van Popta.
Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Kelly.
Monsieur Généreux.
Monsieur Généreux.
Monsieur Mallet. Kapuskasing Timmins Mushkegowuk.
Monsieur Mallet. Kapuskasing Timmins Mushkegowuk.
Monsieur Lefebvre.
Monsieur Lefebvre.
Mr. Steinley.
Mr. Steinley.
Mr. Viss.
Mr. Viss.
Mr. Lobb.
Mr. Lobb.
Mr. Baldinelli.
Mr. Baldinelli.
Mr. Davidson.
Mr. Davidson.
Ms. Gledoux.
Ms. Gledoux.
Mr. Calkins.
Mr. Calkins.
Mr. Lawrence.
Mr. Lawrence.
Mr. Bragdon.
Mr. Bragdon.
Mr. Tucker.
Mr. Tucker.
Miss Rood.
Ms. Rood.
Mrs. Goodridge.
Mrs. Goodridge.
Mr. Muse.
Mr. Muse.
Mr. Shipley.
Mr. Shipley.
Mr. Tolmie.
Mr. Tolmie.
Mr. Redicop.
Mr. Redicop.
Mr. Arnold.
Mr. Arnold.
Mrs. Gallant.
Mrs. Gallant.
Mr. Reed.
Mr. Reed. Reid.
Mr. Allison.
Mr. Allison.
Mr. Menegakis.
Mr. Menegakis.
Mr. Williamson.
Mr. Williamson.
Mr. Falk-Provencher.
Mr. Falk-Provencher.
Mr. Al-Boutaif.
Mr. Al-Boutaif.
Mr. Diot.
Mr. Diot.
Mr. McCauley.
Mr. McCauley.
Mr. Vierson.
Mr. Vierson.
Mrs. Wagenthal.
Mrs. Wagenthal.
Mr. Mott.
Mr. Mott.
Mr. Dowdle.
Mr. Dowdle.
Mr. Epp.
Mr. Epp.
Mr. Khanna.
No, Mr. Majumdar.
Correction, Mr. Majumdar.
Mr. Majumdar.
Mrs. Jensen.
Mrs. Jensen.
Mr. Cramp.
Mr. Cram.
Mr. Lewis Essex.
Mr. Lewis Essex.
Mr. McLean Calgary Centre.
Mr. McLean Calgary Centre.
Mr. Patzer.
Mr. Patzer.
Mr. Leslie.
Mr. Leslie.
Mr. Giovanni.
Mr. Giovanni.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Mrs. Anstey.
Mrs. Anstey.
Mr. Owl.
Mr. Owl.
Mr. Babber.
Mr. Babber.
Mr. Bailey.
Mr. Bailey.
Monsieur Bélanger, Sudbury Est, Manitoulin, Nickelbelt.
Monsieur Bélanger, Sudbury Est, Manitoulin, Nickelbelt.
Mr. Bexty.
Mr. Bexty.
Mr. Bonk.
Mr. Bonk.
Mrs. Borelli.
Mrs. Borelli.
Miss Cobania.
Miss Cobania.
Mrs. Cody.
Mrs. Cody.
Mr. Davies, Niagara South.
Mr. Davies, Niagara South.
Mr. Dawson.
Mr. Dawson.
Mrs. DeRitter.
Mrs. DeRitter.
Mr. Gill, Calgary Skyview.
Mr. Gill, Calgary Skyview.
Mr. Gill, Brampton West.
Mr. Gill, Brampton West.
Mr. Gill, Calgary McKnight.
Mr. Gill, Calgary McKnight.
Mr. Gill, Windsor West.
Mr. Gill, Windsor West.
Mr. Kimmich.
Mr. Kimmich.
Mr. Nader.
Mr. Nader.
Mr. Googlimin.
Mr. Googlimin.
Mr. Gunn.
Mr. Gunn.
Monsieur Hardy.
Mr. Hardy.
Mr. Ho.
Mr. Ho.
Mr. Holman.
Mr. Holman.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Kibble.
Mr. Kibble.
Miss Cronitz.
Miss Cronus.
Mr. Ruff.
Mr. Ruff.
Mr. Currick, Hamilton East, Stony Creek.
Mr. Kirk, Hamilton East, Stony Creek.
Mr. Lawton.
Mr. Lawton.
Mr. Ma.
Mr. Ma.
Mr. Mahal.
Mr. Mahal.
Mr. Mantle.
Mr. Mantle.
Mr. McKenzie.
Mr. McKenzie.
Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Rowe.
Mr. Rowe.
Mr. Stevenson.
Mr. Stevenson.
Madame Normandin.
Madame Normandin.
Monsieur Garon.
Monsieur Garon.
Monsieur Fortin.
Monsieur Fortin.
Monsieur Thériault.
Monsieur Thériault.
Monsieur Perron.
Monsieur Perron.
Monsieur Deschaines.
Monsieur Deschaines.
Madame Larouche.
Madame Larouche.
Madame Godreau.
Madame Godreau.
Monsieur Beaulieu.
Monsieur Beaulieu.
Monsieur Barcelou-Duval. Monsieur Blanchet-Jonca. Monsieur Lemire. Monsieur Boulris. Miss Gazan. Miss Idlaut. Mr. Johns. Miss May.
Miss May.
All those opposed to the motion. All those opposed to the motion will please rise.
Monsieur McKinnon gets no.
Wow.
Mr. McKinnon gets no.
Mr. Ali.
Mr. Ali.
Madame Diab.
Madame Diab.
Mr. McDonald
Liberals don't want to
Malpeck.
get the money back.
Mr. McGinty.
They don't want a
Mr.
lifetime
McGinty.
ban on
Mr.
GC
Lightbound.
strategies.
Mr. Robertson.
Mr. Robertson.
Monsieur Champagne.
Mr. Champagne.
Ms. DeBruson.
Mr. Bruson.
Mr. Hodgson.
Mr. Hodgson.
Ms. Thompson.
Miss Thompson.
Mr. Ananda Sengre.
Mr. Ananda Sangari.
Miss Haidu.
Miss Haidu.
Madame Michel.
Madame Michel.
Monsieur Guilbeault.
Monsieur Guilbeault.
Mr. Fraser.
Mr. Fraser.
Mr. Solomon.
Mr. Solomon.
Mrs. Valdez.
Mrs. Valdez.
Mr. Hussein.
Mr. Hussein.
Ms. Gould.
Miss Gould.
Madame Pittspat-Taylor.
Madame Pittspat-Taylor.
Mr. Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Miss Chager.
Miss Chager.
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Fragiscados.
Mr. Fragiscados.
Mr. Vancouverden.
Mr. Vancouverden.
Miss Gainey.
Miss Gainey.
Madame Provost.
Madame Provost.
Mr. Belanger. Destinate Mississippi, Churchill River.
Mr. Belanger. Destinate Churchill River.
Mrs. McKnight.
Mrs. McKnight.
Miss Chartrand.
Miss Chartrand.
Mr. Garrettson.
Mr. Garrettson.
Miss Alty.
Miss Alty.
Mrs. Gulmasty.
Mrs. Gulmasty.
Mr. Sarai.
Mr. Sarai.
Mr. Long.
Mr. Long.
Mr. Zericelli.
Mr. Zericelli.
Madame Chenette.
Madame Chenette.
Mr. Nagvi.
Mr. Nakfi.
Mr. Housefather.
Mr. Housefather.
Madame Minard.
Madame Menard.
Monsieur Miller.
Monsieur Miller.
Miss Jazik.
Miss Jazik.
Miss Scroll.
Miss Scroll.
Mr. Duguid.
Mr. Duguid.
Mr. Erskine Smith.
Mr. Erskine Smith.
Mr. Fisher.
Mr. Fisher.
Madame Chattel.
Madame Chattel.
Mrs. Romanato.
Mrs. Romanato.
Mr. Calloway.
Mr. Calloway.
Mr. Lewis Kitchener-Conestoga.
Mr. Lewis Kitchener-Conestoga.
Mr. Assassi.
Mr. Assassi.
Monsieur Litao.
Monsieur Lighteo.
Mr. Bardisi.
Mr. Bardisi.
Madame Kayabaga.
Madame Kayabaga.
Mr. Lamoureux.
Mr. Lamoureux.
Madame Brière.
Madame Brière.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant.
Monsieur Gay.
Monsieur Gay.
Mr. Hogan.
Mr. Hogan.
Monsieur Ramsey.
Monsieur Ramsey.
Madame Koutrakis.
Madame Koutrakis.
Miss Chi.
Miss Chi.
Mr. Miles.
Mr. Miles.
Mr. Biddle.
Mr. Biddle.
Mr. Chen.
Mr. Chen.
Monsieur Cormier.
Monsieur Cormier.
Miss Dillon.
Miss Dillon.
Miss Zerowitz.
Miss Zerowitz.
Monsieur Elkoury.
Monsieur Elkoury.
Monsieur Fergus.
Monsieur Fergus.
Mr. Fonseca.
Mr. Fonseca.
Monsieur Yacono.
Monsieur Yacono.
Miss Khalid.
Miss Khalid.
Monsieur Lauzon.
Monsieur Lauzon.
Mr. Maloney.
Mr. Maloney.
Miss Suds.
Miss Suds.
Madame Desrochers.
Madame Desrochers.
Mrs. McKelvey.
Mrs. McKelvey.
Mr. Gasparo.
Mr. Gasparo.
Mr. Hanley.
Mr. Hanley.
Madame Rochefort.
Madame Rochefort.
Mr. Casey.
Mr. Casey.
Madame Fortier.
Madame Fortier.
Mr. Baptiste.
Mr. Baptiste.
Mr. Klassen.
Mr. Klassen.
Madame Lavac.
Madame Lavac.
Mr. Turnbull.
Mr. Turnbull.
Miss Church.
Miss Church.
Mr. McKinnon, Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam.
Mr. McKinnon, Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam.
Mr. Morrissey.
Mr. Morrissey.
Monsieur Chiffquet.
Monsieur Chiffquet.
Miss Cedar Brampton South.
Miss Cedar Brampton South.
Mrs. Zaid.
Mrs. Zaid.
Madame Lambropoulos.
Madame Lambropoulos.
Miss Yip.
Miss Yip.
Madame Lalonde.
Madame Lalonde.
Mr. Pulowski.
Mr. Pulowski.
Mr. Weiler.
Mr. Weiler.
Monsieur Zubiri.
Monsieur Zubiri.
Mr. Eilson.
Mr. Eilson.
Madame Lapointe, Rivière des Mille-Îles.
Madame Lapointe, Rivière des Mille-Îles.
Mr. Baines.
Mr. Baines.
Mr. Gahir.
Mr. Gahir.
Miss Hefner.
Miss Hefner.
Madame Lapointe, Sudbury.
Madame Lapointe, Sudbury.
Mr. Sousa.
Mr. Sousa.
Mr. Carr.
Mr. Carr.
Miss Akan.
Mr. Khan.
Mr. Al-Soud.
Mr. Al-Soud.
Madame Auguste.
Madame Auguste.
Mr. Chang.
Mr. Chang.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Connors.
Mr. Connors.
Madame Dandurand.
Madame Dandurand.
Mr. Danko.
Mr. Danko.
Monsieur Deschaines Thériault.
Mr. Deschaines Thériault.
Mr. Earl.
Mr. Earl.
Miss Fancy.
Miss Fancy.
Mr. Fanjoy.
Mr. Fanjoy.
Miss Harrison.
Miss Harrison.
Miss Hurdle.
Miss Hurdle.
Monsieur Joseph.
Monsieur Joseph.
Monsieur Lavoie.
Monsieur Lavoie.
Mr. McDonald Cardigan.
Mr. McDonald Cardigan.
Mr. Mallet Bay of Quinte.
Mr. Mallet Bay of Quinte.
Miss Miedema.
Miss Miedema.
Madame Mingarelli.
Madame Mingarelli.
Miss Naughton.
Miss Navin.
Miss Wien.
Miss Wien.
Monsieur Tumba.
Monsieur Tumba.
Miss O'Rourke.
Miss O'Rourke.
Mr. Rana.
Mr. Rana.
Mr. Saini.
Mr. Saini.
Monsieur Sari.
Monsieur Sari.
Mr. Sawatsky.
Mr. Sawatsky.
Miss Sodi.
Miss Sodi.
Monsieur Saint-Pierre.
Mr. Saint-Pierre.
Miss Tessa Dirksen.
Miss Tessa Dirksen.
Monsieur Villeneuve.
Monsieur Villeneuve.
Monsieur Watchhorn.
Monsieur Watchhorn.
La Chambre attendra.
The House will now wait for the electronic voting period to end before resuming its proceedings.
All right, well, we'll watch the end of this here. I think it's going to be nay. Well, actually, maybe it will pass. Quebec Bloc and NDP with yay would give us what? Let me run the numbers. So 22, that would be 168. This might pass. This actually might pass. Because NDP plus Bloc plus Conservative have the numbers. NDP voted yay. I think this is going to pass. But it's still up to the government to facilitate the administration of that motion. And they could just not do that. Even though, you know, it's just like they were told to provide a...
Able to vote due to technical difficulties, they may now use the raised hand function, and the chair will recognize them. I see a hand raised for Ms. Sahota.
Mr. Speaker, I vote against.
Seeing no other hands, the table will now compile the results of the vote.
Yeas pour 172, 172. Nays contre 165, 165.
I declare the motion carried. The Honourable Opposition Whip.
Mr. Speaker, I'm wondering if you could clarify the process when voting. The member from Fleetwood Port Kells left his chair during the vote for an extended period of time, wandered around, it appeared to be the lobby, came back, then voted. Mr. Speaker, is that allowable?
It is not.
I don't.
Stay in the seat.
I don't believe that. Oh, just a moment. I will consult, but I didn't.
Yeah, so like I was trying to say there is they have to act on it, but they could just not. It's like the same thing how the sub-amendment to the throne speech had a requirement for the budget to be tabled immediately before they go on break, and we're not getting a budget before break. Like, Liberals can just ignore, well, the government can just ignore the...
If he voted from the application, I think then it would be permitted based on the procedure that we've come accustomed to.
He voted in person, I'm told. So is the member still here? Could the member confirm whether he remained in his seat the whole period of the vote or left his seat and came back? Could the member...
My app was not working, so I came back and voted in person.
Well, you were supposed to say that your app wasn't working. Your vote shouldn't count, but I mean it passed already, so we don't need to spend any more time on this, guys. Let's just move on. What's the point of this vote if they won't do anything? To show that Liberals again are not respecting the will of Parliament. But, I mean, let's give them a chance. Let's give them a chance here. Maybe they will enact the lifetime ban, but I highly doubt they're going to recover the funds. And
essentially, I understand that members knew and these things happen. Essentially, the process is if the app doesn't work when one is in the lobby or in any other situation, one can come in and after the vote has been called, then the member can get up and say that the app didn't work and they would like their vote to be counted one way or the other. So that's the proper procedure. However, so the member's vote would not count unless he gets up and asks for unanimous consent for his vote to count.
I would ask for a consent from the House.
No, there's people yelling.
Fortunately, no. I didn't hear unanimous consent, but so I'm sorry, but we can't count that vote.
So let's give them the chance. The motion just passed. Let's give them the chance. It's very easy to enact a lifetime ban. They've already banned Christian Firth and Darren Anthony and GC Strategies and any other company that they may or may not start from getting government contracts and security clearances, but it's for 7 years.
Consent to allow the vote to... Yes, okay, then it counts.
There we go.
That's for later, right? Okay. What's this on?
I mean, you should probably know the voting process and how to vote and what to do. But
again, I would ask members to leave quietly and quickly. L'honorable ministre.
So yeah, now it's up to them to go ahead and implement it, basically.
Answer a question of privilege raised by the member for Mirabel. It's a pleasure to work with my colleague, and I've done so for 4 years now, and I hope he'll agree that I've always been courteous and frank in my relations with him as well as with all members in this House. In raising this question, the member accuses me of having deliberately misled this House when the main estimates were studied in Committee of the Whole. As you know, all those proceedings can be lengthy and at times subject to interpretation. In examining the transcripts, Mr. Speaker, you'll see that the member for Mirabel asked, are these refund checks for the carbon tax that were sent during the election campaign, were those to buy votes in 8 provinces? Were they paid without the tax having been collected? To that question, Mr. Speaker, I simply answered, and I quote, Madam Chair, the answer is no, because I think it's completely false to describe those payments as an attempt to buy votes, as the member insinuated in his question. Sending refund checks to Canadians is a well-known fact, and at no time did I mislead this place in that regard. I thank you for your attention to this question, and I ask that you apologize me for any misunderstanding. At no time did I attempt to mislead this House, and Mr. Speaker, I thank you for your attention to this matter. Thank you.
I have the honour to lay upon the table the House of Commons report to Canadians for 2025. Under tabling of documents. We'll now go to introduction of government bills, statements by ministers, rapport de délégation.
Reports from interparliamentary delegations. Mrs. Mendez.
Mr. Speaker, I have the honour to present in both official languages reports from the Canadian branch of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association for the following activities. Number 1, the 67th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference held in Sydney, Australia from November 3rd to 8, 2024. Second, the Artificial Intelligence and Security Workshop held in London, United Kingdom from January 27th to 30th, 2025. And third, the 73rd Westminster Seminar held in London, United Kingdom from March 10th to 14th, 2025. Thank you.
Présentation de rapport de
Presenting reports from committees.
Dépôt de projet.
Introduction of private members' bills.
L'honorable Monsieur Barsalou.
Mr. Barsalou Duval, seconded by Mr. Beaulieu, seeks leave to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Constitution Act 1867, Oath of Office. This motion is deemed adopted. The honourable member for Pierre Boucher, Les Patriotes Verchères.
Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's not every day you table legislation to change the Canadian Constitution, so allow me to table this bill that would amend Section 128 of the Constitution Act 1867 to do away with the requirement to swear an oath to the King. It would be replaced by something along the lines of what judges swear, and it would be a time. This could be an opportunity to celebrate, but unfortunately, the requirement to swear an oath to the King spoils this occasion for many people. Many Quebecers reject the monarchy, and so it's both a test and an opportunity for Canada to show some open-mindedness and some fairness, because swearing an oath to a king is just a remnant of colonialism. Mr. Barsalou Duval, seconded by Mr. Beaulieu, moves that this bill be now read a first time and printed. The motion's deemed adopted. When shall the bill be read a second time? When shall the bill be read a second time? At the next sitting of the House.
Première lecture de
First reading of Senate public bills.
Sénat. Motion.
Motions.
Presenting petitions. The honourable member for Courtenay Alberni.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a huge honour to table this petition that was signed by mill workers at the Domtar Catalyst Mill.
Okay, that's pretty much it. Let me see. We'll see if we can tune into a committees just for a little bit, just to see the intros of them picking chairs. But like the Heritage Committee, nothing really goes on. The Women's Committee, once in a while, like maybe once a year, has something decent going on. The Environment and Sustainable Development Committee, it always has something going on, especially because SDTC is just starting to hand out, or has been for the last couple months, handing out new funds. I'd like them to investigate SDTC again to make sure everything's going as cordial as it could be. And then there's the Committee on International Trade, which has never been anything interesting, but might be starting to now because of the tariff situation. So committees haven't started yet. We'll tune into them for just 15 or 20 minutes, and then that'll be it.
And construction systems. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Merci, Monsieur le Président. C'est encore un honneur de prendre le pas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a great honor for me to take the floor today to present a petition on women's rights.
Concerned and focused at the gender apartheid of the Taliban in Afghanistan, depriving women and girls of fundamental rights, girls who are denied the right to learn, to go to school, full violations of international law under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and against the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. I know I'm only to summarize petitions, Mr. Speaker. This one is lengthy. I'll summarize it as follows. The petitioners ask the Government of Canada to formally and publicly declare Canada's support to including gender apartheid as a crime against humanity in international law, to advocate for the CEDAW framework to take on gender apartheid and make specific changes in our policies to reach out to support Afghan women and girls, to collaborate with other UN member states, to sanction senior Taliban officials under Canada's Magnitsky's laws, to take every possible effort to protect our sisters in Afghanistan from a cruel, misogynistic, illegal regime. Please, Mr. Speaker, I urge the government to consider this petition. Thank you.
The honourable member for Mission Mascui Abbotsford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I table two petitions on behalf of voters in Mission Mascui and Abbotsford. The first is in respect to the prison needle exchange program. Drugs and drug paraphernalia are considered contraband in prison, yet this government is forcing our correctional officers to simply turn a blind eye and allow dangerous drugs to be used inside of our prisons. These correctional officers are calling on the government to immediately cancel the prison needle exchange program, stop permitting the use of illicit drugs in Canadian prisons, and focus on efforts related to recovery. The second petition is on behalf of Seabird Island First Nation. On June 23, 2022, Bill C-28 received royal assent, which allowed for extreme intoxication to be used as a defense for violent crimes like sexual assault, where a reasonable person would not have foreseen the risk of a violent loss of control. Residents are very concerned about this provision in the criminal code and are asking for the Government of Canada to repeal it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Presenting petitions. Questions on the order. I'm sorry? Oh, sorry. The honourable member for Nunavut.
I have a petition from 65 Canadians led by the Doctors Against Genocide. They're calling on the implementation of the Geneva Conventions, as well as making sure that International Assistance Accountability Act that requires all Canadian foreign aid to uphold human rights and international legal standards. The petition is calling on citizens and residents of Canada to call upon the Government of Canada to do 5 different things. First of all, to publicly and unequivocally reject the militarized aid and model currently used in Palestine, to demand the full restoration of access for UN agencies and established humanitarian NGOs, including UNRWA and the World Food Programme, insist on safe and immediate entry for Canadian healthcare workers and other international human
humanitarian personnel to Palestine. Number 4, withhold Canadian funding from any entity or model that does not comply with principles of neutrality. And finally, ensure that all Canadian aid to Gaza is delivered through internationally recognized humanitarian channels.
Here, here. Presenting of petitions. Questions on the order paper?
Mr. Speaker, I would ask that all questions be allowed to stand at this time, please.
Agreed? Agreed. I wish to inform the House that the volume of earpieces will now be reset.
Okay, I'm just waiting for committees to start. Looks like one is finally starting up. The other one just started up as well. Environment Committee is going to be in camera for their first meeting. No, now it's not in camera. I don't know. Let's see what's going on here.
Well, I've spoken many times in the Committee of the Whole presenting petitions, questions during question periods. So far this parliamentary session, I haven't participated in government orders. So to that end, I'd like to thank the voters in Mission, Matsqui, Abbotsford for giving me an overwhelming majority to represent them in this People's House of Commons in the 45th Parliament. It is the honor of my professional career to be a hometown boy representing his community. Thank you to the people.
Okay, we are going to switch over to one of the committees now. Let me get this correct here.
Des motions pour la présidence.
I'm ready to receive motions for the chair.
Iacono for chair.
Motion proposed by Mr. Fanjoy that Mr. Iacono be elected as chair of the committee has been received as a notice of motion. Are there further motions? Seeing none, I will put the first motion to the committee. Is it the pleasure of the committee to adopt the motion? Okay. I declare the motion carried. Mr. Iacono, duly elected chair of the committee. Mr. Iacono, I invite you to take the chair.
Yeah, there is a lot of Liberal chairs. So far, out of all the committees, we only have one Conservative chair. And that's because it has to be a Conservative chair.
Thank you. Good day for your overwhelming support, and looking forward to collaborating together and making this committee a joyful, happening one. Enchanté, chers collègues, et j'espère que
Very pleased to be here, and I hope that this committee will be a joyful one and will progress well.
Okay, we're going to switch over to Trade Committee in a second here.
At the end, sir. Okay. Would you like to proceed to...
All the committees are just going to do the same thing. They have to get a chair. They have to go through routine business. Joyful? I know it
Pursuant to
does look
Standing
very
Order
joyful.
1062, the first vice chair must be a member of the official opposition. I'm now prepared to receive motions for the first vice chair. Mr. Leslie.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Ellis Ross as our first vice chair.
MP Ross isn't bad. He's pretty
It's been
good.
moved by Mr. Leslie that Mr. Ross be elected as first vice chair of the committee. Are there any further motions? Seeing none, is it the pleasure of the committee to adopt the motion? I declare Mr. Ross duly elected as first vice chair of the committee.
And we know the integrity that this member has, so I think she'd do an amazing job.
Okay, we're on Trade Committee now.
The motion proposed by MP Fonseca that MP Scrow be elected as chair of the committee has been received as a notice of motion. Are there any further motions?
I haven't won yet.
Seeing none, I will now put the motion to the committee. It has been moved by MP Fonseca that MP Scrow be elected as chair of the committee. Is it the pleasure of the committee to adopt the motion?
Yes.
I declare the motion carried, and MP Scro duly elected as chair of the committee.
Another Liberal chair. Oh, wow. I've seen her in committee quite a few times. She's boring.
Thank you all very much. It's exciting to get back to work to some degree. And especially we have new members around the table that haven't been here, so we have a good committee. And I think if you talk to some of the other members that were on the committee before, Matt was with us here, and of course Simon Pierre Tremblay was with us as well. We had a very good working relationship, right? Not particularly adversarial. I would prefer that we figure a way to move forward together on important issues. And I think we have a great opportunity in trade to really make a significant move forward, which I think is why we all run to get elected, is to make sure Canada does well. And I think we can do well here working together. So thank you, Peter, and thank you all for your confidence and support. If you lose the confidence, let us know and you can have another chair. But I think we'll work pretty well together. So, okay, Mr. Clerk, we now have to go to routine motions.
Vice chairs.
Vice Chair. Okay, yes, all right. That's your job now.
Of course. Thank you very much. Pursuant to Standing Order 106.2, the first vice chair must be a member of the official opposition. I am now prepared to receive motions for the first vice chair. Mr. Genereux?
Nominate Adam Chambers.
Thank
MP
you. It has been moved by MP Genereux that MP Chambers be elected as first vice chair of the committee. Are there any further motions? Seeing none, the motion proposed by MP Genereux that MP Chambers be elected as first vice chair of the committee has been received as a notice of motion. I will now put that motion before the committee. Is it the committee's pleasure to adopt it?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
That's a ringing endorsement.
I declare the motion carried and MP Chambers duly elected first vice chair of the committee. Et conformément à l'article 106.2,
pursuant to Standing Order 106.2, the second vice chair must be a member of an opposition party other than the official opposition. I am now prepared to receive motions for the second vice chair.
Oui, Monsieur Lavoie.
Oui, bonjour. Mr. Lavoie, Steve Lavoie. I'd like to nominate Simon Pierre Savard-Tremblay.
Il est proposé par député Lavoie que
It's been moved by member Lavoie that member Savard-Tremblay be elected as second vice chair of the committee. Are there any further motions? I see that the response is no. I will now put the motion to the committee.
Oui.
Oui, parfait. Ça plaît au comité de la...
Perfect. Is it the pleasure of the committee to adopt the motion? I declare the motion adopted, and Mr. Savard-Tremblay is duly elected second vice chair of the committee.
Now would be the time.
Thank you very much. The committee needs to adopt the routine motions that everyone would have received from the clerk as how we actually run the meeting. Peter, will you please read out the routine motions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the routine motions, members, if you have them before you. So analyst services. That the committee retain as needed and at the direction of the chair the services of one or more analysts from the Library of Parliament to assist in
ready to receive motions for the chair. Madame Vienne.
Alors, j'aimerais proposer Madame Marie.
I'd like to move Ms. Marilyn Gladu, please, as chair of the committee.
It has been moved by Madame Vienne que Madame Gladu soit élue présidente du comité. Y a-t-il d'autres motions?
Are there any other motions?
Other
This
motions?
is Women's Committee.
Is it the pleasure of the committee to adopt the motion? Thank you. I declare the motion carried and Ms. Gladue duly elected chair of the committee. I invite Ms. Gladue to take the chair.
Merci, collègues. Thank you, colleagues, and welcome to the Committee of the Status of Women.
All, I want you to know that I have done the chair of Status of Women before, so I do have some experience in this area, but this committee does very good work, and I'm sure that we will build on the good work that's gone on in the past. Now, normally what we do on the first meeting is there are routine motions, which I believe were circulated. And these motions pertain to how we run committees, and it's how all of them are run. How many minutes do the Liberals get to speak? How many minutes the Conservatives? What order does everything go in for the first round and the second round? And then, we have to elect the vice chairs. Sorry, I didn't receive that on my agenda. Let's just take a moment then and go and elect our vice chairs. We need a vice chair for each of the parties represented. So we'll turn it over to the Liberals to put someone forward to be the vice president.
J'aimerais proposer Emmanuela Lambro.
I'd like to move, I'd like to move Emanuela Lambropoulos for vice chair.
Sorry, it's apparently the clerk's job.
Yes, it is the clerk's job.
Chair. Pursuant to Standing Order 1062, the first vice chair must be a member of the government party. I'm now prepared to receive motions for the first vice chair.
Poser la candidature.
Melissa does like podcasts and stuff now. She's still trying to stay in the limelight.
Inaudible microphone, please.
Or Michelle,
I was
sorry,
told
Michelle
that there
Ferrari.
was no interpretation into French. I just found it, but I didn't get it.
Is that a Liberal guy in the committee? I've never seen a guy sit in this committee as one of the members.
For anyone who doesn't know how to use these newfangled instruments, if you if you see that there's a language proposed, if you don't like it, you can change from that language to the other one or the floor where you hear everything. And then the volume up and down is on the left-hand side with the plus and minus. Ça va bien, Madame LaRouche?
Is it working, Ms. LaRouche?
There was a male in the last committee for last parliament? I don't think there was. We watched quite a few of the women's committees. They were all female. He identifies as a woman. I mean, it's 2025. But I don't recall there ever being a man in the last parliamentary session for the Women's Committee. I don't remember any of the members. They were all women. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% right. We watch so many committees, it's hard to keep them all together.
I will speak in English to make sure that the translation is working. Nothing. You have to really put the volume up.
Okay, I feel like they're going to suspend for a second, so let's just check the Environment Committee, see what they're doing.
What would have been witness statements and information collected that would have been in the committee binder of the last Parliament. To me, it was reasonable to have members have access to that. I don't know if we'd want to start our summer with putting on the analyst all of the work of compiling it, given that it was in the last Parliament. It was not a concluded study, but I think it's reasonable that all of the information that already exists, to put that perhaps as the first piece of information, should the will of the committee exist, to allow for that from those documents into the virtual committee binder for members to review over the summer. But I just would hate to have the analysts spend a lot of time on putting together all of that into a draft report that doesn't have the previous motion within this Parliament allowing and encouraging them to do so.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chair, if I perhaps could you repeat the motion as expressed so we're clear on what it's actually asking for, though?
Could you repeat your motion? Yes. As follows. That the committee asks the analysts to compile all of the information relating to the study of impacts on climate and the environment that are related to the Canadian financial system in order to inform the new members of the committee about the work that was carried out during the preceding session of the 47th session for that study.
Any comments? Question? Mr. Leslie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just to clarify, my interpretation of that is it's the documents that already exist. The analysts would have it. It's a matter of sharing it, distributing it, probably through the digital binder because it's probably many files. Just to maybe ask for clarity from the analyst and or the clerk as to whether or not that's the right interpretation of that. It's nothing new. It's just here's all the information, put it in a folder and go look at it at your pleasure. Is that the right read of the motion? Okay.
If there's no debate, then we can put it to a vote.
It looks like, is there unanimous consent?
Is there agreement, unanimous consent, or?
Okay.
Great.
Just while we're talking about the Pierre thing, I wanted to, the other day, I think it was on Thursday, if I remember correctly, of last week, we were watching Question Period, and at the same time, Pierre was starting to speak and do a media scrum at the, they just adjourned committee. That's it. They came in, got a chair, and left. They're like, that's it. That's my work for the day. That's insane. That committee was on for like 5 minutes. That's the shortest committee I think I've ever seen. But yeah, just as we were talking on Pierre there,
it allowed us to.
we were on Thursday. We were watching Question Period. Well, we were watching Statements, and I saw that Pierre was about to do a media scrum. So I thought, okay, let's. Statements are a little bit boring. Let's just go tune over and watch. Let's go tune over and watch the media scrum with Pierre. And then Pierre's media scrum started at the same time of Question Period. And I thought, who's letting Pierre do a media scrum at the same time as Question Period? That's too much of an overlap. People are either going to watch one or the other. And I think that that's kind of strange. Pierre's media scrum should have been a bit earlier. I'm not sure if that's on Pierre's fault or if that's the campaign manager's fault or who's organizing that, but you shouldn't be doing a media scrum at the exact same time Question Period's going on. That's just not the good way to do things. So I think there are a few times where, Pierre, I don't know if it's Pierre or I don't know if it's his campaign manager. I don't know what's going on, but the Conservative Federal Party needs to do something. Bad timing? Yeah, but he knows the time of what time Question Period starts. That's what bothers me, is he knows that.
And protection agreements, FIPAs, that the committee hear from expert witnesses and report back its findings back to the House.
And is the intention there for us all to become much more aware of why trade deals are important?
The intention is twofold. One, for us to become more aware why a rules-based international trading system is extremely important. But I think it also sets the foundation for us in this time where we're seeing unfair trade practices, protectionist strategies being used as a weapon against Canada that is impacting Canadian jobs and Canadian businesses. I think this allows us to, at a foundation level, be on the same footing as to what we as a committee and this House hopefully have adopted feels about the importance of a free and liberalized rules-based trading system.
Mr. Savard-Tremblay, and then Jacob.
Non, mon intervention n'est pas sur la proposition.
Well, what my comment doesn't have to do with the gentleman.
Okay, and then another thing too is now I forget. Just went off the top of my head. It'll come back to me.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is it your intention or belief that the review will...
This is what I was going to say, because we're talking about international trade in this committee. The move for, what's his name? Who's the guy that we made fun of in New York with the bathtub thing? What's his name? His name's slipping my head. He's the trade guy for Canada, and he's in like Manhattan in New York. What's his name again? Condo Clark. That's what we called him. I don't know if his job is any more important now or less important because of the issues with the tariffs. I know we were kind of slashing the fact that, he's got this big, huge place for himself. Why does he need that or whatever? Tomorrow Clark. Yeah, exactly. I think because we already own the space now, I think it's serving a purpose. And I think if Conservatives got in, I don't think they would sell off that space. I think they would still keep that space, but they would replace Tom Clark with a different person. Clark, yeah.
We're in the process of getting it ready. Otherwise, it should be delivered in both in French and English. Yes, Adam?
No, do you want us to suspend for a couple minutes, or do you want to go on to the...
Do you want to suspend for a minute or two? Yeah.
Well, or I can motivate the other ones.
Okay, so we're going to suspend for a few minutes so to ensure that everybody has received it and fully comprehends it. And Ms. Savard-Tremblay, have you got your motion? Have you circulated it as well?
I'm in the process of prepping.
Okay, so we're going to suspend for a few minutes until we get these motions in front of us to deal with.
The old place, did it sell? I don't know if it's sold yet. We do know the address. We could easily just go look that up. Haven't heard anything from Clark since the Trump tariff wars. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if his job is really as much as important as the premiers are in terms of facilitating trade. What is he actually doing? Well, he's supposed to be scheduling meetings and drumming up business for Canada-U.S. trade. But what I was trying to say is I can see the reason as for not wanting to sell the property now. And I don't know if his role is become more or less important now that there's the trade tariffs. You know what I mean? There's absolutely no reason for Trudeau to get that condo for Tom Clark. No, I don't agree with the way it was got. I don't agree with the fact that he was basically appointed and he was kind of like an insider, very, very friendly with Trudeau. Then all of a sudden he gets this big job, gets a big place. He definitely should be charged more for rent there. But yeah, I can see that if Conservatives, let's just say Conservatives had formed government, I can see them not selling the place and keeping it and changing Tom Clark for somebody else. I can see the justification in there, even though I know it is a lot of money, all that kind of stuff. It's a little ridiculous, but anyway. I don't know why his name just came to mind. I think it's because we were talking about international trade and just the first person that I thought of was Tom Clark. But that's pretty much it for committees, man. That's what I was saying before. I didn't really even want to tune into them because there's nothing really going on. It looks like the status of women one's still kind of going.
Recognized and identified as such, be authorized to speak in keeping with the usual agreed rules of order and decorum. Any discussion?
But we're going to tune out here in a minute.
All in favor? Carried. You guys are so easy to get along with. You're doing great work already. All right. Oh, this was attached to the last one. It's on the second page. Administration support team must conduct technical tests. Just one second. Is that technical? witnesses, that the clerk inform each witness who is to appear before the committee that the House Administration Support Team must conduct technical tests to check the connectivity and the equipment used to ensure the best possible sound quality, and that the chair advise the committee at the start of each meeting if any witness who did not perform the required technical tests.
Hold on, just one minute.
Yep.
All right, well, yeah, we're going to call it here. They're just doing routine business. We'll be live for question period tomorrow, same time. I think it'll probably be about the same thing in what we got today, because PM is in Alberta for a couple days. So I don't think Carney comes back till Wednesday, I think. And I don't think he'll be at question period for Wednesday. He might be at question period for Thursday. He'll probably do just one question period this week because this is the last week that Parliament sits. I don't know if you guys know that, but they go on break after this week. That's it. That was their 3-4 weeks of work, and now they get like 2.5-3 months off. So I don't agree with it. I hope we get some committees called during the summer. I think these guys should be working a lot harder during the summer than previously, because we're in a crisis and all that, and they've barely even worked as it is. So yeah, we'll be live for question period tomorrow, and let me see, there'll be a couple committees we're going to do in the morning. We're going to do the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Committee on Health. We're going to see who gets chaired for those. We'll do a couple committees after question period as well. There's going to be the National Defense Committee and the Justice Committee, so we'll check those out. And we'll probably just stay along after question period for the same stream. I won't do a separate stream for that. So, but there'll be a couple things going on tomorrow, so we'll watch that. And yeah, everybody have a good rest of your day, good rest of your evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.